and he won't be able to build this and then sell to you. Forget it.
Yeah.
I think so. It's something maybe wrong with the project developer, which is mostly the timing in Germany. Yeah.
So that's another question: would you get, if you have any developer? I mean, there are so many companies that go broke, and then you have a project, even a smaller one, and you pay partially, and you have a whole mess, and what you.
They were fucked. I mean, yeah, that's right. And then part of the investment money that you put in is now with the guy that's in liquidation or reorganization, and the investors, the limited liability partners, look to you as general partner or the large partner. How did you let this go bust? I mean, why did you do any due diligence? I mean, how did you give this guy the money?
And that's the reason why you have to know every number broke down so that you can control it through happening.
So
and that you get sure you don't pay too much at any time, but a little bit too less. So if the guy who builds it gets broke, you have enough over to do it another way.
Yeah, a contingency fund. So, but another one other thing.
Yeah.
So just off the top of my head, this looks like a deal that's going to need 20-30% equity before a bank's going to do it. With real prices, realistic prices. 20-30% equity. So what you really need is you need the person that's going to give you that piece of paper that's willing to put up 20-30%. Not just some loosey-goosey letter so you get the contract from the government. Somebody's going to put up 20-30%, and then again, then they don't need you.
Maybe 10% if he's got to pay the real price.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
But what are you calculating the real price on? It's a square meter price construction. But if you just but if you just compare the normal real estate investment, you give a shit on the square meter price. For example, a shopping center. So you take what's coming in, how safe it's coming in, and what's the relation to the price I buy it for.
Yeah, but
that are the two numbers: it's rental income and the price.
But to make the developer happy, the bank is in fear if it's paid too much that you get a lot of equity for another deal, and the equity will not be in this deal, and so it's all the risk of the bank.
Yeah, you're putting all the financial risk on the bank.
If you look at the value of the property, you look at not the cash flow, but at the value of the property. You look at what it is worth if it was vacant. And the question, which I think wasn't asked, it seems to be built on a military base or very close to military base. So if they were to move out after 10 years, but the military base continues with the current capacity, and I'm not even sure whether civilians would want to live, or whether the Americans would want civilians to live.
This is a huge entertainment center.
I have a contract with me which is signed, not by me, but at the other party, about a military base near Passau, and we want to rent the roofs for photovoltaic.
Okay.
And every single building that's about the roofs will be about 20,000 square meters, and or even more, and not a single house is rented. It's all empty.
Yeah, could happen, of course.
That's the position. The bank's going to look at the worst case scenario.
If you want to buy something which was really, really expensive to build, there's an offer at ammunition depot of the East German Army. It costs about 50 million to build into the rock, and you can buy it for less than 2 million. You know, if somebody has the value for it for data storage to store valuables, because other governments have looked at it, putting their gold reserves into there, it can be one of the best deals you can make to buy this, because it costs more than 50 million to build it. It's entirely secure. You even have the railway lines going there. You know, it's perfect. But you know, the bank will say, well, what is the other use for it? You know, you either hit the jackpot and it's worth immediately 20 million or 50 million, or it's not worth anything.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to buy Pinochet's mansion outside Santiago, Chile, a number of years ago, and he was still alive, and it had cost at that time $35 or $40 million to build, and it was on the market for $3 million. And it had the railroad, it had runway for him, and it looked like a German fortress, and it was I loved it. And I said, well, how long has it been on the market? It's been on the market 5 years. How come nobody's bought it? He says, because off the record, nobody can buy it. Because who? And then I finally, Pena owns it. He owns it with a company he's not supposed to own, but it's his house. It's his house, and for him to retire, because he figures when he retires, he's going to have to fight off the peasants. So, and he was right about that. But I mean, I figured in the terms of what the dollars were then, I was buying something for $3 million that would cost $50 to $70 million to build, and but I couldn't wind up buying it. But in this case, it's just the opposite. And there's a lot of deals across Europe, especially in Germany, going east, that are old military bases, and this is going to be NATO people are going to live here. And the reason why these things aren't snapped off the ground is because of all the things that we brought up. There's always the chicken and the egg. And anybody that would put up, if I would put up 20 or 30% based on even these numbers, or even maybe only 10 or 15% based on real numbers, I mean, Bjorn doesn't bring any value to the deal. There's nothing there. The developer doesn't need him. Once the government contract says, the developer can go straight to the government contractor or the government. And I mean, it just doesn't. And because of naivety and inexperience of the people that are handling the deal now, and because of the position he used to have from the guy that he worked for that was dropped dead, I mean, he happens to be there for some period of time. But somebody's going to wake up, and what I told him, if they're not talking to more than just you, they're idiots. They're idiots. Okay, we're going to do another role play. The situation has changed a little. First, before I say what the situation is, does who, if anybody, wants to do their deal to a banker, as we've done in the past?
Well, I haven't done any role play.
Okay, well, I understand. Well, this has been on purpose so far. It hasn't been by goddamn accident. I have some control over the class. Okay.
I'd be happy to be a banker to our American friend if he wants to pitch something.
Okay. Well, one at a time. We're going to let Bjorn be the banker. He's the least likely banker, but that's why we're going to let him be the banker. Okay. He's the most likely crooked banker. So, but we don't want you to be a crooked banker.
Here's the envelope.
And that's right. There's the envelope. And we want you to don't pretend that this is a 75-year-old woman. Okay. You can stay right where we don't have to move. Okay. So you have sent them, or sent the bank, your executive summary. You've sent the bank your dream team. They're lending in your mode, or in your particular area of, and they are interested, vaguely speaking, in your project, and you sent them the stuff, and you've talked to them a couple times on the phone, and now, but you're past the interviewing process. They have actually said they were interested, so now you're going to pitch the deal. This is not your interviewing. You're letting them know that you're pitching the deal to more than one bank. You're talking to them because you've got 3 interested financial institutions. But since Bjorn was the first to show interest, you're talking to him first.
Okay. There is one small problem. I don't have a realistic deal to pitch right now to the banks. I mean...
well, nothing about your life is realistic. It's all a dream.
Okay.
Maybe that's why I dreamt about gypsies.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Do you want me to invent something? Like, for example, I want to buy a club that produces that amount of cash flow in case he
yeah, well, fine. Well, whatever you want. It's your time.
Why don't you buy a castle in Scotland?
Yeah.
A castle in Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay.
that it produces no cash flow.
Hi, nice to meet you again.
Ah, yes. Mr. Chip, nice to meet you.
How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Have you had time to think about the deal? Because we are really interested in moving very fast with our transaction. And as we spoke before, we have to decide upon what bank matches our interest, and they want to support and make a deal in our transaction.
Yeah, what was the last deal you're now talking about right now? The castle in Scotland?
Yeah, the
right?
castle in Scotland. Yeah.
Okay, you're fine with that. So what is the current situation with that?
Well, I'm sure you have looked a couple of times at the numbers, and you said that you are interested in doing the deal. And I mean, we already are in a final position to finalize the deal, and we have to pick the current bank that we want to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We looked at the asset, and we are not quite sure right now that the valuation you brought across meets with our needs for the securitization. So, what's your collateralization idea for that deal?
Well, the collateralization, I mean, as you probably looked, again into the papers, you have seen every detail. The collateralization, I mean, it will be brought first of all by the reputation of our board.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I mean, we will have some collateralization, 10% of the castle, and as the real estate market right now is in a down spot, I mean, it will get up, and a castle, I mean, we have castles in Scotland, but there are not so many. I'm sure you realize the collateralization is in a very good position right now.
Yeah, but as you may understand, the market for these castles, if we don't pretend, but it could happen, there's something going wrong with this could happen. We see from the value you sent us, it's not matching with our understanding of the value. So the actual we are putting some deduction on your value. So we have now valued it at around about 60% of the purchasing price, the acquisition price, or the financing price we're looking for. So we have to close this gap.
Excuse me for interrupting, but you are the right person who takes the decision here, right?
Yes, I am.
In the bank, right?
Yes.
And I mean, you have seen the deal. How much money can you lend? I mean, what's the maximum money that you can lend for deals like this?
I can tell you. Right now, you're asking for 10 million euros. And
no. I mean,
how much are you asking?
2 million. 2 million.
2 million. Okay, you're asking for 2 million.
Yeah, obviously there's another property market up here.
And so the valuation, the collateralization for this property is only 1.5. So what are you willing to bring across for the gap of 500,000 euros?
Oh, well, for 400,000 euros. What did you say? What was the last thing?
You're asking us to get 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
And the value, we valued this property, this asset, at 1.5.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to find a way to get this 500,000 security in there.
Well, the thing is this. I mean, this is the deal that we came through, and already there are many banks interested because I mean they see the value of this deal, and they see the upcoming strings of deals that are to come. And considering right now everybody has a lot of cash and everyone is scared to do anything with them, I think you can see that this is one of the best deals you will probably see across like this period. This is one of the best deals, and I mean. The whole collateralization, I think it's more than enough because the value of this class castle, I mean, as you can see, it's a lot higher than someone can predict. I mean, everyone can put a bad value on the property.
I understand your position, but look at this. This is a report you sent over. The valuation on the castle was done by Rufus Romania company. And this is the valuation we made. It's a special castle expertise from Scotland. And he says 1.5. Your guy says it's 2. you think you understand. You have to understand my position. And if my X% is 1.5, we have to take this. So to make the point clear, you have to figure out a way if we want to deal. Sure, we want to. It's a good deal, and we come to the cash flow after that. But you have to find, first of all, you have to find a way to fill this gap of 500,000 in collateralization. You can bring don't know. Do your ideas or do your thoughts on this. Come back with any ideas. We are happy. It needs not to be money. It's okay. Find a way, and we can speak about other forms of security. The second question is, I had a look, and we had to look at your business plan or at your rough numbers, and we are not agreeing with your deal that you can pay this money back that fast. You explained to me. You're saying the loan is amortizing throughout 5 years, and we strongly disagree with that. What's your opinion? And what
can you show me the last 3 business plans or scenarios that get accepted in this area of activity? Can you give me those so I can those?
Yes, we financed some castles, and based on these experiences, I can tell you.
Yeah, but can you give me those reports, please?
No, why should I? Because you know the market. Because we did the business in France, and you are talking about Scotland. We have this
well, as I said, I'm always I'm already trying to find to form relationship with a couple banks. So I want to see what type of business plans get accepted by this by your bank, and if it's a good match for our deal. You know. So if you want to get on the same position, you know, to have a perfect match. So this is why I'm asking for these business plans.
So this is the first deal in this.
You already. Read
despite
everything, right? The executive, everything, the documentation I sent you, correct?
Yes, but if you have the experience, like I read in the memos, you should have the experience.
He's not a good bank. He tries to find. I would say like right now next. Honestly, I would not do this. Next, go to someone else, you know, and just put him on the curve. If you are interested, please give me a phone back. But it may be too late.
There it is right there. But the numbers.
I wouldn't do this. I would just walk away and go to the other one. It's a waste of time.
Okay. You will have some confrontational presentations, but don't make a steady diet of confrontational presentations with financial institutions, because I give a shit that you're confrontational, but you don't want to get in the habit, because then you're going to find a bank that's really on your side, but he or she asks hard questions, which is okay, but then you'll get confrontational, then you shoot yourself in the foot. And so don't get confrontational with these guys. And normally let the banker vent his spleen. Let him say what he doesn't like about the deal. But I normally start by saying, well, what did you like about the transaction? What do you like about the property? What do you like? Because it's very difficult if he says, first of all, if he says he didn't like anything, the meeting's over. Okay? But if he says, what does he like? What do you like about it? And you let him go through the list. And then I ask, normally at least 2 more times, and what else did you like about it? Yada, 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 yada. And then what else did you like about it? Yeah. So now you got him saying 2 or 3 times he liked it for these various reasons. Okay. I have a feeling some of you couldn't give away sex in a fucking lumber camp. But this is a selling process. Does that translate to German? Not give away a blowjob to a bunch of lumberjacks. Does that translate?
I think they get it.
No.
Please explain. Blowjob, yes. I like that part, but
you could not give away sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you were a blonde, busty girl.
Yeah, you couldn't give away sex. This is a selling process. No, you're the banker in this deal. But I mean, it's a selling process. Okay, so how do you sell? You have to show.
You couldn't sell a fridge in the desert.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
This is the trouble I've had all fucking week with these Germans. I'm telling you. Now, look at the Chinese guys. Basilio, God bless you. I mean, because they don't understand a different setup. There's a whole bunch of shit they don't understand either. But because these guys take literal translation, but they're one step behind a literal translation, the Chinese. So it would have been interesting between the two groups to try to. We might have to have an 8-day seminar instead of 5 days. But you sell benefits. You're selling benefits. The benefits to the bank are: it's a good, solid credit, and you're almost positively going to get your money back. The benefit to the bank: you've got a strong board of directors, management team that's locked in step, just like the goose step. Locked in step, everybody's going in the same direction, pulling in the same direction, with a lot of experience. You're selling the benefits that you've always paid back the banks. You're selling the benefit that it's a reasonable, except for Bjorn, it's a reasonable valuation. Okay. You're selling the benefit that you're going to have an exit. Very few banks want to do 20, 30-year paper, okay, unless it's a residential house or a commercial building. You know, we're going to be out in 5 years, 7 years, which means their picture of potential problems is relatively short. And if you're in the middle of a cycle, you probably won't get to the next cycle in 5, 7 years. So these are the benefits, okay? And yes.
Well, that means it's a selling process.
Yes.
Selling means advertisement, and when I'm buying this, I mean, all it's got to do
and your advertisement is you send them a letter or an email. You send them the board of directors. You send them the CVs of some powerful guys. You're right, it is a selling process. I told you from the very beginning the reason why I'm so successful, because I'm a world-class salesman that's lifted his sales abilities to, hooking governments and and big financial institutions, because I'm selling. And I'm not afraid to call myself a salesman. Some people say I'm a marketeer. I don't like that, That's what Jay Abraham is. I'm not. I'm a salesman. So I sell benefits. And I sell reduced risk. Not absolute reduction of risk, but reduced risk. So that the probabilities are this is going to be a good credit. Good credit meaning no hassle, pay back the money when you're supposed to pay it back. Sean.
Dan, how did you, in your career, figure out when to bridge the gap between pitching capital, raising capital versus managing the Great Western Resources and the oil company, being a part of that?
Oh, I never bridged the gap because I never managed the assets of Great Western Resources. I had a super world-class board of directors that knew more about the oil business than I did, with one exception, Governor Hugh Carey didn't know much about the oil business. But I had operational guys. I had a former controller, CFO of Gulf Oil, which merged into Chevron. I have the former controller of British Petroleum. I had the former head of exploration of Texaco. I had smart guys that understood. I forget what our head geologist and geophysicist, but they came from big backgrounds too. So they managed. I never managed. I was always selling somebody something and looking for deals. I was selling Mrs. Rufus from Bremen and selling me her oil and gas rights in the North Sea that she got from before the First World War, and then going and selling some financial institution to give me money to develop it. So I never managed anything. I never. I'm a better manager than anybody in this fucking room. But I mean, that's because I've been at it 39 years, and I've seen all the things you can do possibly wrong in management, so I know when to step in. It's like I told you a day or two ago, how do you know that this is going to happen? Because 95% probability that you're going to fuck it up, so why allow you to fuck it up when I can step in and fix it? The corollary to that is, I don't allow you to sink the ship by taking a bullet or a shell below the waterline. I allow you to take hits above the waterline because that's how you grow as a manager. Otherwise, I'm always going to have to be there. I'm allowing my son. I read some of my emails. My son has been going back and forth with McKinsey and these various people in Shanghai. And I wouldn't have done it that way, but I'm not going to correct him. I'm not going to send him the email. But I make him copy me on everything. So every time he sends an email out and he copies me, he expects an answer. He probably shakes until a few days pass, and then you don't hear from me. But a lot of times I'll wait a month, and I'll trick fuck you, and then I'll ask you a question from 5 weeks ago, thinking that you think I didn't look at it. And then you based a bunch of other decisions based on the fact that you didn't hear from me, and all those other decisions are wrong. But I won't allow you to make all those decisions that are wrong if it's going to sink the ship. You may have to do some cleanup, but you remember your own cleanup better than if I go clean it up. It's like kids. They remember the mistakes they made and the things that, when you say, I want you to go apologize to Mr. and Mrs. Jones for breaking their window. Or go apologize for Susie Cusey for, kicking her in the ass, or whatever the thing is. You remember that more. So you remember you cleaning up and, rectifying your own errors better than your parents. My dad never went and fixed anything for me. He made me go fix it, then he beat the shit out of me. Or he beat the shit out of me first, I went and fixed it, then he beat the shit out of me again. To make sure that it was locked in concrete that I shouldn't do that again. I always found new ways to fuck up. And so he found, but I didn't go back and do the same thing again and fuck up the same way again. So, it's not a matter of management, it's about selling. You got to sell the benefits. The benefits of the castle are, it's, you don't know this, but the benefits of the castle, it's the only castle that can seat 400 people. It's not a hotel in central Scotland. A benefit of this castle is that it's already been renovated twice. It's fully heated, fully this, that, and the other thing. You don't have to put all that money. It's been re-roofed, replumbed, rewired. Those are what they want to hear, because they're going to say, okay, this is in your operating budget. You've only got your expenses at, 50,000 pounds a year for fixing things, when it should be about 350. But because I did all those things, so those are all benefits that the bank puts into their formula and say, well, at least he doesn't have to spend money on this. All the roads have been tarmac. When I got here, all these parking lots have been tarmac. Before it was just mud when it rained. This £1 million pavilion wasn't here. And it's state of the art. The whole property is floodlit. That's a benefit. It's a benefit for not only security, but for aesthetics. It's a benefit that, this is a secure place. People can come here, and some people do come here because it can be perfectly secured. You can't get in. There's only 2 ways in and out, and they're both electric gated. And if you really want security, we put guards at the thing, and we put guards around the perimeter. The benefit is that it's 156 acres of manicured estate. Most of the estates, it's only the 5 acres or the 3 acres around the castle. It's a benefit that we have a walled garden built by the Benedictine monks in 1619. That is a historic monument. And you sell the benefits of your deal. Now, true, some of your deals don't have any fucking benefits, other than you're going to put money in your fucking pocket. Those are tougher. Okay, so the only way, let's see, Sean, you haven't, you ready to pitch your deal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Stefan, you're sitting right there. You're the banker. I'll set the parameters up. Again, Sean's already sent out the letter email, the executive summary, the vision statement, the resumes of the board of directors. He's already told the banks that he's interviewing. He's already now gotten down to 2 or 3 banks that are interested in his project. He's now going to meet Stefan, who has the lending authority. He's with a bank that likes the general area and the specific area that Sean's involved with. And now we're down to hear the specifics of the actual deal.